Close your eyes. Get some rest. I'm by your side. Lay your head on my chest. I know you've had a really bad day. But I'm right here, it's gonna be okay. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay. Calm your soul. Hold my hand. Don't let go. I understand. I know it hurts. It wasn't fair. It's over now, so don't despair. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay.
haven't joined before, it's so lovely to be here on a Saturday afternoon. It's pretty grey outside, so I can't think of any nicer way to spend the weekend than at my painting. So today we're going to be doing cherries. I've got a really nice setup. Been up the cherry tree. Well, I sent my 9-year-old up the cherry tree. By the way, tell me if the microphone needs adjusting. And he has retrieved some cherries, so there they are. And so I'm just going to have a quick paint of those, like as a warm-up. And today what I'm going to be specially looking at is using an effect called tiling. So I will show you around, show you the deal, what we're going to be doing today. So I've got a few kind of scenes that we can work from. So this is the drawing board scene. So here you're going to be able to see, these are my brushes. So look at those. These are a huge thank you to my very dear friends Dave and Sarah, who have treated me for my birthday with some brushes. So they're getting their first day out, these brushes. So here they are. And then I will have, so you can see the palette. It's not a brilliant camera on this palette, but I think hopefully that will be quite good. So I'm going to put some oil paints on those. And if you're watching on Instagram, welcome, or Twitch or Facebook, it's really nice. I know a few friends are going to be watching, so if you're in and you want to type hello in the chat wherever you're watching, then I can see you and I will do my very best to respond. But if you want to just sit back and have a cup of tea, that's also fine. So there's no obligation, but it's quite nice sometimes even just to know you're there. So I'm going to be putting my oil paints on. And the other thing we're going to be doing is working from this really lovely reference photo. So this is going to be the main part of the session today, and I've prepared a board to paint on. So here's the board. I'm going to be painting on this. It's pre-prepared. It's really nice when you're doing landscapes to use a coloured ground. And if you know your colour theory, oh, hello Paul, you're on time this week. Have you? Oh, okay, so you've started ahead. That's cool. I can't see your comment on the stream. Let's move that down so people can see. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Oh, really nice to see you, Paul. So what have you done so far then? So I have this, yeah, so this is ready for the second. So this will be the main part of the exercise, and I'll be working from that lovely reference photo that you can see now. So right, do you want to see the dancing room, or should we keep that till later? I'm just going to take you in very briefly, partly just to test that it's working. So when the dancing room comes up, there's just a second while I start dancing. Hold right there. Are you ready? Okay, hopefully I can coordinate this. Hi there, Brian. Hi Brian, welcome. Good evening in the Philippines. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I hope you've had a nice weekend. Yeah, lovely to see you. Paul's here as well, and so I was just showing that that was the dancing room. I know you'll tell me if my mic, I still can't work out this mic, I can't work out how to get it louder, so I'm just having to make the soundtrack quieter. But so today what we've got is there's a few cherries for a warm-up, and then we've got, so I was just going to do that on white, and then I've got a red ground to do the landscape, so that's going to be the main thing. Okay, so let me start while we chat and say hello. I'm going to put my paints out on here. I think this camera might have given up the ghost already. Oh no, it's okay. I have a picture of cherries. Okay. Nice. Paul, I don't know if you've seen on the screen, I know you're watching on YouTube, but if you watch on, let me move that because you can't see that. Hang on, I can see, you can't see the chat, Paul. There we go. So Paul, Brian said hello. Right. Okay. So I'm going to just use a bit of liquid as a really easy base. Hey Brian, I'm just going to have a little gloat. Look at this. This was a birthday present. And I don't know if you're watching Jay, but I've got my lucky streaming bracelets on. These were a present from my lovely customer Jay. The sun picking up the cherries. Oh, you did? Ah, right. So yeah, he's very good. He's very happy to shin up the tree. All that tree has grown with the children. It was quite small when we moved here. Right, now colours wise, I'm probably going to go for my trusty Steeds. I'm pretty disorganised with my palette. If I'd probably been to an art school in Florence, I would have probably developed better habits, but there we go. I think, Brian, you're the Raw Umber fan, aren't you? Am I right? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to put some Raw Umber. Don't know what I'm going to use that for. What did you say it was for? Shadows. So I'm going to try and work a different method today. So what I'm trying to do is there's some French ultramarine, my favourite blue. So these are kind of my go-to colours. Yeah, so I'm going to try and work with tiling, which is very, very different from my normal method. Usually I work in a quite a structural way, you know, whether it's planning out the painting with an underdrawing or an underpainting, and I think you do the same, Brian, don't you? And I suspect you do as well, Paul. Now that you're doing enough that we can discuss your habits rather than just it all be new. So just let you know, girl, I didn't invent Raw Umber. In my head you did. In my head, you are the king of Raw Umber, Brian. I know you have other talents. Right, so we've got another red here. There's cadmium red. Probably going to go large with the reds, although actually these cherries, there's not much, you can see there's not much red going on there. Right, I reckon this camera is okay as long as there's action happening, but it keeps switching itself off. Which I think it does if it doesn't detect any action. So hopefully that will keep me working. Right, and I'll put a cobalt. I always think cobalt blue is the blue equivalent of cadmium red. It's like a really, I know cadmium red is quite a hot red, but cobalt blue, but it's pretty near the middle. Okay, I'm going to go for some Viridian as well. And then I will just talk you through. See, look, if you had a proper demo from a proper artist, you'd get a proper layout of the palette. But I like these paper palettes because I'm so bad at cleaning the other ones. Right, burnt umber, that was going on. And I'm definitely going to need a yellow. So this is cadmium yellow lemon. It says. I think that might, yeah, cadmium yellow lemon, which is, yeah, it's quite a cool yellow, so on the greeny side of yellow, as lemon is. Okay, so yeah, those lovely cherries that Tom got, we had a bit of an accident. So this one has, oh, thank you. Thanks, Brian, you're hosting. That's very kind. I still haven't worked out how to host. Right, so there's cherry. Okay. So let's just check that you can see that. Right, so I'm doing it alla prima. I haven't done an underpainting, so I've done a bit of an underpainting on that one. But really, all I'm trying to do is get the hang of mixing the paint, mixing the paint and putting it on in blocks rather than sort of sculpting it. So, right, I'm going to use a palette knife to mix. Let's just make that a bit bigger for a second. Are you using that? Oh, am I? Oh, that's cool. pencil drawing and hopefully a watercolour. Oh right, okay, fantastic. Right, you're going to do double. Okay, brilliant, brilliant, Paul. Right, so let's just make this a bit easier to see. Okay, so I tend to use a palette knife to mix my colours because I don't think it's very good for the brushes really. And I'm literally going to just try and mix up a few. Right, so who was that? We had a guy on, I assumed it was a guy a little while ago who was very funny, cracking jokes about the fact that I hadn't actually put my brush to the page. Okay, so there's a green. I don't know, but I reckon I might need a pretty unsaturated. I'm just going to save a little bit of like a yellowy green, just a really, really bright one before I start mixing in any other colours. I'm going to just save a tiny bit of that there for my future use. Right, now I need a dark green. So let's take some dark blue, some dark green, and a bit of alizarin crimson. Maybe that was a bit too much alizarin crimson, but I'm sure I can use that. Right, what's that? How's that come out? Okay, right, that was lucky. It's like a very dark forest green. So Viridian is a bit too on the blue side, really, to be much use when you're doing natural leaves. But it works in the odd flash, definitely. Okay. And what I'm going to be doing is probably mixing these up as I go. So I need a bit of kitchen paper. So what news from your world, Brian and Paul? I had a bit of feedback from a viewer. I don't know if you're watching, I won't name you, but it's lovely if you are watching. But just to say that this viewer wasn't overly keen on the dancing. So I don't know what we think about the dancing, but I thought it was pretty... I might run a risk of not coming across as a serious artist with this dancing, but I feel as though personality-wise it's probably a bit more honest to dance. But I'm not sure you're a salsa man, Paul, are you? Can you do a bit of salsa? I bet you would though. If you were at a carnival, I bet you wouldn't be at the side. I think you'd probably be covered in a boa with some big sunglasses on, dancing your heart out. Right, now I've got a really nice green and I'm kind of cheating. I'm sort of mixing up some, this is really bad practice, do as I say, not as I do. But I'm kind of mixing up a few nice colours, and then I think I'll just find a place for them. So while I've got the light, a bit of light stuff on my palette, I'm going to go for something even lighter. So I think with this tiling as well, the idea is that you don't do much blending, if any. And then you mix up kind of in between colours. So I'm going to try and pick out the big colours, the really distinct key areas, and then maybe blend some in between ones and then tile those in between. So that's my understanding of how you do it. Now I need some dark, like a really dark blacky brown, but before I ditch this, what have I got? I think I need a bit more of even, like a whitey yellow. So let's just get a load of white there. This is flake white again, I really like flake white. And then when I'm actually using these colours, I'll get a bit more yellow than that. When I'm actually using these colours, I will add a tiny bit of liquid, but I think when you're tiling as well, you use slightly thicker paint. So Brian, where we're any dancing that outs a smile on your face. Thank you, Paul. Yes, well, it's the thought of you dancing that's making me smile, basically. It's not my own dancing, but it is quite hard not to smile and dance, I reckon. Well, I don't know though if you're in this sort of, yeah, maybe if you're in a gothic kind of persuasion. Right, so now let's go in a bit lower and you can see more there. Can you see that? Okay, so we've got a nice, like, slightly acidic green. This is the green of my kitchen worktop, so that is a ridiculous green to paint with, but I have a feeling it might come in handy. Just a flash. This is quite a dark green, which I think I'll need more of. I've got some whitey, greeny yellow there, which will probably go well on the actual cherry. So now I'm just going to quickly mix up some darks and then we'll get started. So, wow. So Brian, I just use, about the music, I just use Epidemic Sounds, and I made my own playlist, downloaded, I can't download a whole playlist for some reason. Right, I'm going to use Burnt Umber and Ultramarine to mix up a dark, like a black. There we go, you can see that. This is my favourite mix for a chromatic black. So Paul, I think you probably will have, I know you pay good attention, you will have noticed in previous lessons that I often use this mix for a black. I just don't go there with black. I don't know about you, Brian, do you use black? Pure black? Ah, you use Epidemic Sound, right, we must have just put the same search in. I find them really good. And what about your new camera? Where are we at with the camera? Are we going to get Brian's face? And how long till you've got a dancing room, Brian? Because I will be up dancing in your dancing room, you can be sure. Right, I feel like I need, cherry wood is a really lovely warm brown, and this is not particularly warm. So I'm going to mix up a slightly warmer version, probably with, so this is Burnt Umber. I think right, swishy arms and preferably lots of space. Right, I'm going to redden that up a little bit. Obviously, the tonal value is more important than the hue. Right, this has got Brian's favourite colour, not. Oh, hi! Dave, I can see you're watching on Instagram. It's lovely to have you. Thanks so much for joining. You won't... I'll come and say hello. Hi, Dave. I've got a... Yeah. That would be great to see Brian dance, wouldn't it? Dave, look. Thank you so much for these. I have saved them for today. So these are my amazing brushes, and Dave is watching on Instagram, I think. So lovely to have you watching, Dave. So right, I'm just mixing up my colours. We've got some lovely cherry colours. The one thing I don't really have is an actual blush, and then we're kind of ready to start. So there's a colour for the wood. So I'll just mix up a kind of pinky, orangey cherry colour, and we're hot to trot. So now probably that's too much because cadmium red is so strong. Let's see what happens there. Okay, right, I need a bit more. I'm just being a bit cautious adding that in, and I need a bit of yellow. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a yellowy, lemony yellow. Oh, there we go, that's nice. Right, I can definitely see that colour on the cherries. So what I tend to do when I'm doing this sort of thing is I'll take a bit of that, save it as one side, and then use the remains as a base for a variant on that. So I'm going to go a little bit redder. Not really that famous. Oh right, if it was, they would have called it Pandemic. Pandemic Sounds. I think they should, well, yeah, and what about Corona beer? What about that? That's, they saw it coming, didn't they? I think lots of sales of Corona beer did drop off. Rather sad reflection on humanity that people honestly stopped drinking Corona beer because of the pandemic. I don't know what they thought. Right, I'm trying very hard not to mix an absolutely classic cherry colour because, to be honest, my cherries aren't quite ripe, and honesty is a big part of this whole thing. Okay, that's about as red as they go. Right, let's have a try. Okay, ready to go. So I'll lift this up a little bit and shrink that whole thing down. Okay, so you can see this now. Let's go. So I'm going to take a, what size is this? This is a 2. This brush is a 2. And I'm not going to draw at all. So this is right out of my comfort zone. And I'm just going to go in with a tiny bit of liquid to help it move. And I'm going to try and be really ruthless about the shapes. So I'm just going for that sort of central bit. Let's put that right. Okay, so I have a little, you go quite big with these cherries. I have a little kind of green area like that. And I would say that vein also is that same green. Don't give you that lovely cherry shine. Oh, Paul, they can do. They can do. If you're wanting to get a shine in pencil, the putty rubber is your friend, and also try making it slightly darker next to the bit where you want it to be light, if you see what I mean. That might work, but Brian's probably got some good tips. Okay, so I can see that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the camera right onto the canvas because I don't think it's going to work otherwise. There we go. Right, you can see. Now you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to look at the side of the cherry, and I need a bit more white for mixing the colour next to that, which I see as being derived from that one I've just put on, but it's got a little bit more yellow and a little bit more white. So let's try that. I think you can see that, can't you? You can see the difference. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to use a tiny bit of that on there. Right. Okay, now let's go for some of that red. So it's a very, actually in the shade, I've got a dark green, which I reckon, oh dear. So I'm going to use, blessed as I am with multiple brushes, so this will be my darker brush. Thank you, Dave. Okay, right, I just need to keep an eye on Instagram in case anyone comments. Right, so let's go for, I'm going into the shadows now. So I'm looking on the right hand side of the cherry, and I think it's really quite dark. So I'm going to take, this is a background outline to the cherry. I'm just trying to mix up the right colour. Right, so this is the silhouette, and it's also a shadow, and it comes down like this. Oh, not thick enough. Right, let's get more paint on and a bit more liquid. You really need to have it quite thick for this method. It's a good learning point. Right, so what I'm doing is there's a like shadow there, and then the edge of the cherry here, and then this is leaf, and it, I don't know if this is going to work. Right, there we go. So you try, I think the other thing that people do when they're tiling is they try and see at just shapes, not I mean, I know we do that when we're drawing as well, but even more so, right, and then we've got a bit of a shape here, which is the edge of that leaf. It's not thick enough, this paint. Right. Okay. I think as well, possibly would have been better with a bit of a primed. Okay, now this is becoming the edge of the other cherry. So we've got overlapping leaves. So I've got another shape here. Let's put that in. Right. And then I'm going to go for a slightly more bright green on the other side, but it's still that dark leaf. Okay, so this side of the cherry, there is, I can see a triangle shape here, like that. Hopefully, oh, that looks quite black on there. Hopefully it's not on your video. Right, and let's take some of this here. I'm going to simplify a bit. Okay. This is difficult. It's really hard. You don't get a second chance like you do with when you're building up layers. Okay, so now I've got there's the edge of the stalk. So I've got a really light stalk on this cherry. I need a bit more yellow in that green. Okay. There and bit there. Now I've got, here we go, I've got that lovely bright green popping just on the fold of the leaf down here where it catches my streaming light, which is really bright. And there's another flash of that same colour just here. Okay. Paint to clean all those brushes later. Oh, Debs! So nice to see you, thank you. Yes, it is going to be a pain to clean all these brushes, and I still haven't got that stuff, Brian. I went into the art shop to try and get it. Debs, it's lovely to see you, welcome. So, right, yes, well I hope this works, Debs. I mean, it's, you know, it's seat of your pants. Nothing's guaranteed, otherwise what would be the point? So, I'm just getting some of the random green colours in so that now I can put that contrasting shaded area of the cherry and judge it, because I wanted to make sure that it was dark enough but not too dark, so when you're painting it's really good to set up the background. Brian and Paul, will you indulge me for a second if I just quickly show Debbie round what we've got? And so we've got, here's my smiley face. So this is a canvas that I've got set up with a cherry behind it. So there is the cherry, and that's just the that's the first bit. We're just going to be doing, you know, I'm going to do another 10 minutes on this one, and then we're going to be using these this reference photo, and I'm going to be doing a bigger one. I'm going to be doing it with a red background. So I reckon those little flashes that you can see of things catching the light, leaves catching the light, they will, I will just be able to leave the ground showing through. Okay, so here's my palette. I've pre-mixed a few colours, Debs. And right, I think I will do that, right, that side of the cherry. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the right colour to go in this here. So there's a little bit of red under here, and there's a little bit of green, which is related to the green that I've used on the cherry, but it is quite dark. And I think probably Eric Drummond, but he studied in Florence. Oh, right. Oh, that's good. No, I don't. Drummond or Dummond? Have you been watching him, Brian? Okay, I'm just going to desaturate this a little bit with a little bit of brown. All I want is one tile, so literally just one blob. But the idea of this method is that you get your blobs right. So I could even just try it on the side. Right, I think that's okay. So let's go for it. Yeah. Okay, so it's a bit desaturated, and I'm trying to see this as a flat shape and resist the temptation to blend. Okay. And the other thing I am just going to do is look round and see if there's anywhere else where I can see it, and there isn't. Yeah, the other cherry is a bit darker. Oh right, okay. I'll check him out. Paul, we'll have to get you on Twitch. Right, so I'm going to go for another brush. Well, see, the thing is, once you're already washing your brushes, you can just, you know, in for a penny and all that. Okay, so I'm going to put the other cherry on, just to have a little bit of fun. Oh my goodness, hello Bravo, so nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Whoa, lovely to see you. Hey Bravo, I did some bears the other week for you. Not just for you, I did them for Brian as well, and for myself. But yeah, how are you doing? It's nice to see you. Right, so let's get that cherry in up here. I'm going for there's a lovely patch there, and I'm getting that in because I'm going to have the blush on in a minute, and I want to do both cherries with it when I do. Okay, and also actually there's a flash down here on this cherry of that colour, I think, so I'm going to use that. But it's one of those methods where you just have oh Bravo, you can see it on my YouTube channel if you want to watch, but I'm sure you've got better things to do. How's right, I'm very happy to have you all here. We've got a lovely crew forming. I should introduce you to each other really, but I'm guessing that that's probably probably for you to do, not for me. But I commend you all you people watching. I'm sure, I don't know Bravo, but you seem really nice, and I can certainly commend Paul and Debs who are watching to you. And I think you know Brian already. Look at Twitch. Never heard of? Yeah. Yes, Paul, your learning curve has been very steep. Okay, so I'm just going to try and mix a sort of in-between colour on here. So this is what I was talking about. You can see I've got two colours which are pretty strong. And so rather than blending, when you're doing tiling, you mix an in-between colour. That's probably not quite in-between. That's the cadmium red is so strong. That's a little bit better. Right, and I think I can put a little bit of that there, a little bit there. And it's really frustrating because you can't really use a lot. Okay, so now down this side of this cherry, I've got a dark, strong red, and then it's coming down here, but it's shadows. So it's actually, it looks to me quite dark and desaturated, just like this bit here. And I'm going to use the same probably colour just there on that edge. Oh, it's been raining. Yeah, and here. We've all had loads of rain, and my son's going on his, do you do, well we do this thing called Duke of Edinburgh, the schools, and you come on the chat. Yeah, so the schools do Duke of Edinburgh typically about now when it's normally nice and sunny, and yeah, my son's got a long 20-kilometre trek tomorrow, and it's going to be pissing with rain. So I've just been kitting him out with waterproof trousers. But yeah, he doesn't even know how to map read. Hi Leon, if you're watching. I'm hoping you'll come in and come and dance with me, but I think I might be dancing on my own today. But you know what, that's just fine. Hey Bravo, we've got a dancing room. We've got salsa today. I hope you've got your dancing shoes on. There is no escape. We'll know. I've got cameras in your room watching, making sure that you're dancing when it comes to it. No, I haven't really. Just playing to paranoia for my own amusement. Right, let's sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just mixing up a colour to go on the side of the cherry. Okay, here we go. Is that camera broken? Yeah, right, so I'm here. I'll go a bit closer there. So I'm just trying to mix up. Basically, it's this colour on the what's it called? The colour that's actually the local colour of the cherry is about this. So in the light, that is the colour that you're seeing, but in the shadow, it's quite a lot darker. So a lot of squinting. That old coconut, and oh, that's too dark. But I have to say that probably is okay for the bit of stick that's there. Now this is a problem with this method. Unless you do an underdrawing, you end up with straying off your page. Yeah, they got lost as well. Yeah, well, I think Leon is relying on other people to do the map reading. I think my son Leon is probably imagining himself being chief in charge of entertainment, and I think he's also planning to cook some pasta for people. So that's good. Right, so yeah, that's the problem. I've completely strayed off, but I'm just going to complete this little area just to get the whole concept of tiling before moving on to the other one. Right, so I need a nice, let's get some, so we've got a highlight here, and I'm going to go for a more red in that shadow. That shadow wasn't red enough. So the cadmium red on here will lighten the mix as well. Oh, thanks so much for following. Thank you. I can't, can I see your name? I've lost your name. I'm so sorry. But thank you for following. I saw that you just did. I'm such a screaming amateur. Right, so we've got a nice red colour going on here. And I reckon that's just on the shoulder of the cherry. It's actually the shadow of the... There we go, right, and we need a more, it's still not red enough, you still can't really see it. So I'm going to put a little bit of white in, and that will bring up, make the colour more obvious. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to see over there. Okay, that will be fine under here. Right. So it's one of those things where you have to just kind of trust your method, where have I said that before, and hope that at the end of the day it looks credible. Okay, and I'm going to use this darker red on the side of this cherry as well, just in that little, I reserve that little gap there. There's a tiny bit of blush. Okay, right, and I'm just going to put some panels of green. Oh, is it? Oh, the microphone's weak. Okay, right, yeah. I'll go a bit closer. How's that? That. What we really need to do is a bit of dancing, I think. But I have to wait. I've set myself this thing that basically I have to wait until someone asks to dance. It's not a feminist thing, although it could be. But yeah, I'm going to wait to be asked. So feel free, you know. Okay, oh brilliant, okay, I'll just get closer. I don't know what, there's something in my configuration that's not quite working. Right. It must be me. No, it's not your ears, it's my new microphone, Debs, which Leon very kindly gave me, which I love, but which I can't quite get set up properly. I need a techie. Any of you techies? Bravo, are you a techie? I bet you are. I wish you were here and then you could help me. But I'm just going to have to work it out for myself. Right, let's just, okay, so I hope this is starting to look a little bit more 3D. I'm just going to cut some corners and do some using the same colour where there probably isn't that colour, but I can see a lovely bit of white on the leaf there that I'm going to put in. It's like a cool white here where it's catching the light, just in front of that there and there, the other side of the stem. And then I'm going to put the stem colour in. That's quite bright there, and anywhere else for this. Okay, there's a little bit of yellow there. I'm using a little bit of artistic license here. It should, in a minute, when I fill in the gaps, this should all start to make sense. I plucked up the cone. Thinks I'm good with tech, but don't. Okay, all right, Brian, I'll wait. Right, so let's just, I'm just going to try and focus on the areas round the cherries, just so they make sense before we move on to the main course. Right, so here we go. We've got a nice dark area here, which should make that one pop there and make that stalk pop by comparison. Okay, and there's a greener dark in here, there, probably not quite different enough, and right, and I need to get, there we go, let's get that. I don't want to mess up my palette too much. Oh good, that's a nice, there's a nice, that's more like that green there. I don't know if you can see the nature of the greens, but there you go. And this here is pretty much that same colour, so I'm going to generalise. So depending on how long you take, you can take this method to whatever level of detail you want, really. So you can take this method to like a almost pointilliste level of you know, tiny little tiles, or you can do oh my goodness, you sold your painting, congratulations. Oh, you're happy with your, that's brilliant, Paul, that you're happy with your cherries. And Brian, I'm not surprised. Brian, that's really great. So did you sell them to someone who watched the stream? And how nice to be able to sell a painting and tell someone that they can watch a video of it being painted. That's awesome. That's really great. I'm so pleased for you. Okay, right. I'm going to pop that in there. And so now we've got, I just need to sort of complete these cherries. So I'm going to go in with the reds. So dark, darker. I can turn, I know, well, I'm in Streamlabs OBS, and thank you, Brian, but I can't turn it up any more than this. So I'm sure I've got some other thing going on. Right, there's that. I think I might use this up here. Okay. And so this here is catching the light and is a really whitey, again, it's really cool to the extent I'm actually going to use a bit of, I'm going to mix up a colour here. There we go. Using some cerulean blue. That's not exactly right, but it's probably close enough. And that is where the light is catching this leaf here. Yeah, you sort of know when you put it on, especially if you're painting with the subject behind you. There we go. So that's in fact all of this pretty much, apart from there's a little shadow. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. There's a little shadow of the stem running alongside it there. that. Okay, and let's go for a bit more of that light colour on the other side. Take a bit more. So a nice expression that I've heard used to describe the way of putting paint on when you're doing tiling is buttery. So I don't know if you've heard that used, but that's a good thing. If you're putting your paint, let's say my paint, you can see I'm scrubbing, it's not thick enough. So I'm going to use that as a learning point for the next painting. Right. So I'm just squinting to see that this bit of the vein here, because this is all in shadow, it's actually really dark. It's just a little bit less dark than its surrounding area. So hopefully that's too dark. There's the vein in the shadow. That's a bit of leaf. Okay, so now I need to just find this colour down here. I'm going to wipe off and have a look at it. There is quite a bit of bounced light. It's quite a, I think it's quite a warm yellow. It's quite like that one. It's almost like a blend of that and that. So I'm going to go in for, here we go. Right, let's try that. There we are. Yep, perfect. Okay, and can I use that? I think I can use that here. Pop that in there. And we've got a little bit of edge of cherry there. Right, I'm going to move off these cherries in a second. I'm quite bored of them. But, and if I'm bored, you must be. BRB. Okay, bravo. Lovely to see you. We'll see you in a minute. Thanks so much for checking in. Right. Okay. I'm going to put a little flash more of contrast on there. Some green. We've got a bit more green on here before we leave it. And I've got the definition of the stalk, which I need to come in, and some red. Okay, where's my red brush? Right. Red brush on the shoulder there, where that form turns the strong colour. The colour's really strong there. And it's quite strong. There's a tiny little flash of red there. And I need something to set up that highlight on the cherry at the top. Right, there's a little bit there. Okay. And I'm going to just focus my camera because I can see, you can't really see. Right, there you go. Just pick one, Paul. Just pick a joke, any cherry joke. Just pluck one out of the air. Okay, so I'm just going to fill in some gaps. I'm probably going to use the same palette. There we are. Right, the temptation to draw is huge, and what I do need is just to darken, to shape that cherry before I move off it. So here we go. This cherry hasn't got the right shape. That one looks about credible. No, well, one or two pretty crude. Oh, right. I'm sure Debs has got some cherry jokes. But they might be, in fact, you're probably fine to tell crude jokes on here, Paul. I think everyone watching is over. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't be encouraging that. Okay. So hopefully you get the general idea. We're just matching colours. I'm going to stop on that one and move on to the main course. But there we are. So that's tiling. And I think I'm probably going to need to do a lot more, probably do some mixing, but it will be easy because I'm going to be working from a reference photo now instead of from real life, which means I can be a little bit more controlled. And also I can have my camera at a better angle because I won't be trying to also show you the cherry. Anyway, there we go. So that's that. Now, here we are. How do I put that? So my problem is I've got a camera. So if I'm going to give you a good view of the, see, if I'm going to give you a good view of that board, it's between me and the camera. Okay, why do elephants paint their nails cherry red? I don't know. Why do, well, maybe Paul knows. Thank you, Paul, saving me with your jokes. Right, now I think hopefully that the colours by this is a happy accident. It's slightly pre that the colours. And did you hear the joke about cherry? It was pitiful. I knew you'd have something, Debs. Thank you. Oh, Dave, if you keep losing, and hello yesterday. Okay, right, Dave and yesterday both struggling with your signals. The only thing I can suggest is if you watch on YouTube, it's much easier. I'm not sure about the Instagram streaming in general. So if you want to try looking, right. You can hide in cherry trees. Oh, Paul, yes, that's very good. Well, it's bad good. Okay, I've moved that there so that people watching on Instagram can see, because they can't see the chat, but they can see this. Right, now let's have a look at this reference photo, which is absolutely beautiful. So I chose this because people who do tiling very often there's one, isn't there a joke about elephants and minis as well? Right, so I'm just going, while you tell each other jokes, which is totally fine with me, I'm just going to carry on messing up this painting. Okay, so we have, if you're watching on Instagram, you're very, very welcome. Hello, by the way, I'll say hello. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. The Instagram interface is restricted to this bit, so I try and have the action section there. So this is my drawing board, and I also have a camera over my palette, which you can see here, but I can't show that. People do. Well, I have a builder's bum and I don't do tiling very often. Right, I'm in no position to criticise anyone's bottom at all. So, because as we know, I think all bottoms are beautiful. So here we go. Look, I've got that poisonous cadmium red on my hand. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh. Right, I'm not sure I follow you, Paul. I think I'm far too innocent for whatever you've just, the other parts they paint, right. Oh, is this the elephants? Are you still on the elephants and their fingernails? Right, so I'm going to start looking, I'm going to look again at this reference photo. There we go. And I should really do a bit of mixing, but in the interests of this stream being fun, I might just mix to order so you can watch. So let's go to the drawing board, and I'm literally, or I suppose, would you permit me just to do a little bit of an outline just so that I can see where the horizon is and the trees? Do you think that would be okay? I'm going to imagine that you said yes, Gail, that would be totally fine. So let's go, let's have a look here. I'm going to put this here. Shrink that one there because you don't need to see that so much. There we are, right. so my canvas is not quite the same proportions, so I'm going to go for, here we've got roughly trees here, and we've got a big bit of shadow there, and then we've got foreground stuff here like that. I'm just kind of defining the boundaries. Right, so I'm just, let's move that, see, you can't see that, can you? Right. Right, so I'm just defining the boundaries. Now there's a nice yellow bit where that little bit of light, the little pool of light, which I'm going to get in as a milestone here. First tile. Like that. Okay, can you see that on the picture? It looks very blue on the screen, but I promise it's not. I'm going to focus a little bit more so you can see. There we go. Okay, right. Now, so that's a nice yellowy green, which looks bluey green on there, and I'm also going to put in there's some flashes up here, so I'm trying to just see these as shapes, not trees at all. Lots of squinting. I'm going to put a bit there, and then there's a tree here, and there's a tiny bit there which actually is darker, I think, and less saturated. Put a bit more blue in. Okay. Thank you, Brian. It's fine. It's totally fine. You don't need to chat the whole time. You must be tired. I hope you're tired. That's what I say to my children when it's bedtime. Expect you're feeling tired, in a bit of psychology of hopefully that makes them tired, but actually what that does is wake them up. Okay, and then so it's nice actually. It's quite bluey there, and then we've got some really lovely yellow green here. So let's get some nice thick gloops of yellow in that foreground. So here, oh, that's lovely. Right, so there's a nice bit of yellow and another one. Let's go here. So I'm hoping to use this. So I don't know if anyone on Instagram has seen Susanna McInnes, who is a really lovely painter, and I would say she's a little bit this way. I don't know if she would say that, so I wouldn't, don't quote me on it, but you know, quite a sort of observer of sections and faithful representer. And so she's doing a paint out, which is a really lovely idea. So basically she's having an exhibition, and you can go and paint there. I'm sorry, Brian and Bravo, if you're watching, it's in the UK, but I'm going to go with my daughter. So next week we're going to be streaming from the garden of the farm, and hopefully I'll be able to take you in to see her exhibition. And also I'm hoping that Izzy will hold the camera so that I can do some painting live of the orchard. And I was thinking this is quite a nice way to paint greenery. Brian the dog wasn't trying to eat your picture. Right, I'm completely lost, so I'm going to leave you to that and come back when you're making more sense to me. I'm not saying you're not making sense, it's just not to me. While I look at this horizon here, so right, go back to the drawing board using my Stream Deck. Okay, so I'm going to go for, in the horizon up here, there are some really great, really pale colours. It's pretty much white. And on the tops of the trees there, they almost fade to white. So let's get a load more white on the palette. And I'm going to clean some of, I'm going to put it near, quite near the blue. And just wipe my brush a bit. Okay, and let's go in. I think I'm going to clean my brush actually with, I use Get the lid off. I don't know if you've got one of these, they're really handy. So I'm just going to swill my brush around. That's a bit of Zest-It in there. Doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but it's just going to be clean enough that it won't pollute that sky and make it a green sky. Okay, so we need white with oh, did you? Oh my goodness. I didn't know that, Brian. That's amazing. I thought you put Vaseline on camera lenses. Right, so let's go for this sky. So I can pretty much see that the sky is almost one colour. And let's use, and so I love, so this pink ground, which looks a bit weird, is courtesy of Frances Watts. I know she's not the only one, but I just love the way she does it. She has this really fantastic style, and she often uses pink or red underpainting, and she does a lot of landscapes, and it really, really works. So I can see some streaks of blue up here. And if I was doing faithful tiling, I would mix them as separate colours. So I'm going to try and do that a bit. And the other thing I've noticed tiling people doing is not making their sky brush strokes necessarily follow the form of the clouds and things. They literally just follow the colour. And so they just look at the shape of the colour. And there's a really good artist teacher, Sarah Sedgwick, and one of the things that she teaches is doing your paintings in a reduced number of strokes. So you can do like a painting of an apple in 5 strokes, and then you build up to 10 strokes and more. And that's almost like distilling the whole tiling philosophy. Okay, let's go. I can see it's a little bit more blue in amongst these trees, and there is a shape. So there's a shape here, which I'm going to use a little bit of artistic license and make it a little bit bluer, just for interest. There we go. Some shapes there where the tree is going to be. Let's get some more whitey blue there, and now I'm going to paint into the edges of the tree. So I'm painting the negative shapes above the trees there. And this is something really nice that I see often in paintings that use this method. In fact, they paint the foreground first, so it's the opposite way round to some painters. They paint the foreground first, and then they paint the sky. So the sky is done as like a positive thing over the top, and it looks really weird close up. But if you judge the colours right, then from the background it looks great. I don't know how this is looking, guys. This might be my first shocker. And if it is, then I will tell you that I did it just to make you feel better. But hopefully it'll be alright. Okay, so I'm going top left. It's getting obviously slightly warmer as we come towards that sun there. Now I know that's probably largely a camera effect, but I'm going to go with that and warm the sky up in a bit of a stripe, which I can sort of see-ish. So I'm going to fill in that there. Again, trying not to be too rigid about the brush directions following the clouds. But at the same time, what I don't want also is to track the edge of the trees either. Okay, and I think I've got enough of a thing to, I've left enough tonal value to go really white yellow here. So now I'm just going to look at that colour there, and it's a very white, desaturated greeny yellow, I reckon. Let's see if, so it's here. So I think it might be, I think that's that. So that's where that warm light hits the trees, there. Okay, I don't know if that looks right to you. And let's also look then at the colour. So it's, I'm looking at this, can you see there's a ridge, and it's, again, it's very desaturated, it's like a grey. It's very pale. I think it may be even a reddish grey. I'm going to try that red. Let's see, we had a bit of red left over from the cherry. I think that might work. Let's try it. Okay, so we're going in here. Okay. And I won't really know if this has worked until I add in the trees underneath. But I'm going to assume that is right, and then it blends out towards a white. So I'm going to tile it rather than blending. So there's the next lighter colour. And it's definitely lighter at the bottom. Oop, so that's, I need a bit more white. Okay, I hope this makes sense, the area that I'm doing. There's a dark tree here. It's just, yeah, and it ends just, so there's, can you see that? I don't know if you can see, you can find that's a good anchor in the picture. Okay, now, so we've got this greyish pinky colour coming in here. So it's this light is a very sort of ambiguous, misty colour up here. And then we'll go in with the white and the yellow for the sun, and hopefully that will make, then it will make sense. I love it when they get this right. It absolutely is beautiful. I may or may not get this right this time, but if I get this right, you're having a dance, whether you like it or not. We'll be having a celebratory dance, but I'm just saying, I'm still waiting. Still waiting for someone to ask. Anyone would think you didn't actually want to dance. And we know that's not true. We know you want to, really. Right. So I've got a little puddle of liquid here. Let's try. So I'm going in for the edges of the sunlight there. And I've got this whitey pink coming in here. So it actually becomes indistinct there. Okay, you're waiting for the right timing. Okay, fine. In that case, I'll just trust you. I don't mean it to look like I don't trust you. Do you think I should get the titanium white out for that sun? I think yes. Hang on 1 second. I've got some titanium down. Right. So Brian knows this, but Deb and John, Paul, the titanium white, really, really bright white, and some people use it really liberally, and some people don't touch it with a barge pole. You're worried you see my watercolour, it's definitely not working. I think a dance would be just at the right time. Okay, so you think that we're getting to the point where a dance would be good. I think I'll put the titanium white on, and then maybe one dark patch and then a dance. How's that? How's that, Brian? Okay, right, so I'm going to put the titanium white up in where the whites are. Okay, and let's go for it. So it is absolutely, I'm going to use it totally undiluted, and you'll see, look how bright that is. And it's quite a cool white normally, but I have Thank you, Brian. I have got a little bit of yellow on my brush anyway, so I'm just going to try. You can't really see what the sun is doing, but I think there's like a kind of warmish halo coming in there. Okay, and it blends down to the underside of this, so it tracks down onto here, doesn't it? That underside of that hill there. Okay, let's bring that down a little bit here. Okay, right. And I'm also going to put a tiny bit up here because I can see a cloud, and I just think that's a nice thing to have. So let's put that in there a little bit. Right. Okay, so we've got this lovely warm glow, and that's going to be picked up. I'm going to put some more warm colours here later, but let's just put in a couple of some dark greens, just to have a bit of structure before we take our relaxation break. Right. So I've got really dark, and the really dark patch is here, isn't it? So that looks black. I didn't want that to happen. Let's put some lighter green in with it in here. So it's easy to overcompensate. Yeah, there we go. Right. I can still see a bit of a green colour in it. And I'm trying not to fuss. I'm not doing leaves here. I'm just doing thick, buttery paint, as they say. Trying not to blend, trying to see it as a big shape like that. And I would say there's a similar bit here coming in between those. So I'm just trying to kind of rolly there, and that goes under there. So that's I don't know if you can see which tree I'm doing here. And then there's a more muted version of that dark green, maybe even slightly cooler. I'm going to mix a little bit of blue in, a bit of cerulean here. Right, so it encroaches onto there, right there, like that. That's how I see it anyway. Okay, and we've also got some lovely bluey greens, which I'll come in with later there. And then here we've got this, pretty much is the same colour as that. I'm going to go a little bit more grassy and use some liquid so that I've got more paint on my brush. Oopsie, paint the camera. There we go. Right, so let's go for here. There's a big patch there. This is what I've been looking forwards to. Okay. I'm hoping the tea fairy might come in a minute. I can hear footsteps, but I'm not sure. Right, there we go. Okay, so there are some blue flowers, which I'm going to add later in this foreground. I'm going to leave some little spaces for them. Right, it looks really weird at the moment, doesn't it? I think those last week's one looked pretty, excuse my French, pretty shit until the end. I thought the bears looked okay as it went on, but that's different because you're drawing little bits. Okay, and we've got another stripe of the same colour here. And there's a tree trunk in there, I think. Okay. I wonder if Malcolm's watching. If you are, I hope you're having a lovely day. I know some people watch and don't say anything because they tell me afterwards that they enjoyed it, so that's really nice. Right, so let's step back for a minute. So we've got, here is the first painting. So I'm looking at tiling basically. So I'm looking at a method of painting where you simply lay on colour. So here's my palette, and I mix up colour exactly to try and match to the subject. So let's move that camera onto there so you can see there. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm just going to get that in the middle of the camera. Right, there we are. And move that up. Okay. There. So it's really one of those things that it will look, oh, bravo, welcome back. Hey, bravo, you're just in time for a dance. You can always hide again, but we did say when I had a bit of structure on this painting that we would have a quick dance. So so this is the cherries. I was just explaining. So this is how you tile. So you do it by mixing up your colours one at a time and then just putting them on. So right, we're going to have a dance then. Are you ready? I am going to move to the dance room. My microphone will be quiet. I want you to get up, okay? So I'm going to be indicating get up, and that means get up. It's not my dance moves, okay? So this is get up. Are you ready? Right? So let me just line. I'm going to tee up my excellent soundtrack. I went for carnival feel today. Right, ready? Get up and dance. So say you give yourself some Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Welcome back, bravo. I promise now you're going to be excused. It's like having the adverts, isn't it? Yay, you liked it, Brian. Yes, I always have a bit of night fever in my dancing. It's always there. Okay, so who danced then? Oh, good, yay. No one's watching. Just dance like nobody's watching. And Debs, I bet you were up, Debs. Yay, we love it, we love it. Okay, so right, so the thing is, it's the people who shout loudest, and because we shout loudest, we get to dance. Right, so let's go back to the drawing board and examine the dubious painting situation. So squinting at this, I would say I've got a bit too much contrast. So I think one of the things that I need to do is around these areas, looking at the trees, I probably need to refine them a bit. And to do that, I think what I need to do is mix like a colour that's a little bit more towards the light colour. So not the light colour, because what I'm looking for is a lighter colour that is in the shade. So it's still tonally quite dark, but not as dark as that bit there. So let's just see what that's not light enough. Okay. You want a cookie, but you want to stay healthy. Ah, right. Do you want us to decide for you? Do we think, is that what you're asking, Bravo? Are you expecting me to give you permission to have a cookie? Is that really what this is about? Cookie goes first, then be healthy. Oh, right, okay, Brian. So we know which camp you fall into then. Right. Okay, so we've also got a little bit here where it's not totally right. Now another painter, Tom Hughes, who I really love his work. One of his tips. Sorry, Brian, I just covered up your comment so people can't see. You can't see on there, can you? Right. There. Hopefully then, Debs, you can see the conversation. Sorry, I've got it in white. That was a really bad decision. So one of the things that Tom Hughes says is to try and paint the texture, and I thought that was a really good idea, and that's what I'm trying to do there. And but what I'm also trying to use is color temperature. So you can't see it, but this is like quite a yellowy here. It's actually quite a warm green. I just had to make your own tea again. Paul, you just missed the dancing. Or did you just dip out for a second? No, you didn't miss much. You were dancing, weren't you? I'm sure. Right, so what I'm really coming to is I'm saying I'm going to use some really bluey greens in this area because I want these bits where there's some red to pop forward. So I'm on my palette, I'm just looking around for what I can find. I've got a lot of cerulean blue here, which I can sort of see in that green. I'm talking about, can you see there are some sort of stripes going on here? I think just there. And they're like behind the trees. Does that look, can you see that? And hopefully they will then bring those things at the front forward. Okay, and I need a bit more dark stuff here. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well done, and well done, Benji. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that Benji also got up and danced. Well, we can have another dance before the end if you and Benji behave yourselves. Okay, so I'm going in here with some dark because I want to make some contrast and offset those light flowers that we're going to put in. And right, so we've got those. I'm not really doing too well on the tree shapes, so I'm going to get another kind of mid-green. So another thing that I understand to do, so this is more kind of do as I say, not as I do, is to vary your shapes. So vary, and this is kind of a compositional thing. I'm actually going to ignore those tree trunks for now. To vary your patches. So when you're tiling, don't just make all your tiles, like if you were a pointilliste, you make all your tiles the same size. But in this, we are varying our the size and the area covered by our tiles in order that they look sufficiently interesting. Otherwise it can look very dull. And this painting is anything but dull. It's many things, but it isn't dull. Okay, so I've got this silhouette coming here. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle really, filling in those gaps. Okay, and we have got some tree trunks coming down. I've got a rigger, but that's not what they tend to, I don't think these, so a rigger is one of these brushes. How can I show you, like this? So they're typically, riggers are what you can use for signing work. So you can put on your paint, you can dilute your paint with a bit of medium and maybe a bit of oil, but also a bit of paint thinner when you're signing, and then you can get really thin lines. So I don't know why they're called riggers, but I'm guessing it's because of painting the rigging in a boat. So like those long thin lines. Right, now what have I got on? I can't even remember what I got on my brush now. Okay, so what I was saying was that I think you could go for riggers for tree trunks, but I don't think a purist of this method would. I think they would stick to pretty clunky lines, just to keep that sort of, right, where's my trunk here? Okay, I think I've got, oh look, I've left a little hole for the trunk, there we go. Right, you'd think that was planned, wouldn't you? Okay, so, and there are some in the background which are slightly fainter, but I might just put them in like that. Okay. Oh, that looks a little bit like what I'm trying to draw. Right, now, looking at this here, I would say that looks blacker. So, but also I don't want to make it too dark, so I'm going to go for a little bit of white in there. And so here's my mix. Let's go down there. So I'm mixing up, I'm using my burnt umber and French ultramarine. 8 grains. Oh, you did? Yeah, that's a really nice painting, isn't it? I think it's a really popular one to copy. Okay, so what was I doing? Oh yes, so in here, right, there we go. And I'm not going to be precise, and I'm going to try and paint with a bit of movement. So I'm kind of twisting the brush to try and get the essence of the branches, but not trying to blend, because it is quite a sharp, there's quite a sharp contrast. Okay, no idea if that's going to work. And to me these look as though they've got, I don't know if it's the contrast or what, but they look darker on the top. Do you think these trees, maybe it's just where they hit off against the sky, but I feel as though there's some dark up there. Okay, right. And we've got this one here which I've put a bit of blue in. Okay. Right, I'm just looking with this colour while I've got this colour, this dark colour, because what happens is you lose your really darks as you work on a painting. You lose that colour from your palette. You kind of start diluting, and it's really hard to keep your, it's always easy to add white, but to get your darks back is quite hard. Right, but I have got, okay, so this is also desaturated here. I need to be careful not to just, so I've just carelessly put a dark colour over there, but actually looking at the painting I think I need to go a bit lighter. So we've got these really lovely vivid bright greens here, and I will do those before I lose them on the palette, and then I'm going to go in with muted versions of them in here. Okay, yeah, the greens are amazing, aren't they? Really, really lovely. Okay, so we've got these lovely, Brian, I'm guessing you were responding to Paul's comment. Right. Now here, there just is a bit of a mix. This is not looking quite right on the camera, but it is a very acid green here. And then I'm going to do another, I need those cooler ones there, but let's go for the more, it's almost like a reddy browny green. Here, okay, right, in there. Oh, that's good. Okay. Right, and I'm not quite being luxurious enough with my paint. Right, I've now got a bit of white on my brush, so I'm going to do some of those whitey greens on the left hand side and try and get some of that coolness. And there are actually some trunks showing there. I don't know if you can see them. A little bit of structure there. Okay. 1 or 2 picks with bright sun. Yeah, it is hard, isn't it, getting... Oh, hello. Evangelion, hi, welcome to the stream. It's really nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. We've got, there's Bravo on, and Brian and Paul, and Debs is watching on Facebook, and I'm just painting, doing some tiling. So I've just done some cherries to experiment with the method, and I'm doing this painting. So hopefully in a minute it'll all come together and look right. So we were just talking about how there is like these warm yellows, and there are going to be some oranges going in here. And then back here it's very desaturated where it meets the sun. So I'm just looking for those desaturated colours back there. And I'm almost just mixing up on my palette some random colours and looking to see where I can fit them in here. Have I made... Oh no, I haven't, Bravo. I don't know how to make a Discord. Do I need to make a Discord? I saw you... Actually, I was looking at one of Brian... I think it was Brian's stream, and I saw you talking. You wanted to see a finished piece of the cherries. Oh, this one? Do you mean this one, Brian? You mean you want me to finish it? I know that would be good, wouldn't it? But I sensed that it was either or. I've no idea what the time is. I don't know why, but my time has gone on my stream. Yeah, that one, yeah. Why don't you do one, Brian? You could do a, you could try doing some cherries. She said cheekily. Okay, right, and I can have like a warmer green. Right, and this is actually creating quite a nice, like a path through there. There we go, that's a nice, actually quite a nice strong green. It's no fun. It's fun for me if you do it. You, Angelion, are you an artist? Do you love painting or drawing? What do you do? A Greek aesthetic. I don't know exactly what you mean, Bravo. What do you mean? Do you mean like sculptures, figures, or do you mean like ancient Greek? To paint, yes, you do have to do bears. The demands on us are huge, aren't they, Brian? Right, now I've got, that looks like quite a decent colour in there. The annoying thing about this method is that you can mix up a colour and you can end up using it like once. Ah, mythology. I don't think I have, no. No, I don't think I've done that. Would be fun though. Some great characters in, like traditionally it was, well, a lot of artists, a lot of Renaissance artists and people used a lot of Bible references, didn't they, as their inspiration. Yeah, I think biblical and mythological subjects are great in that there are always such great kind of story elements, aren't there, to the content. But no, I haven't, Bravo, I haven't. So do I need to do a disc? I was going to say disco. Do I need to do a disco or Discord or both? Right, now let's start looking at this area. So I've got a really, really bright green, which is fantastic and will be fun to do. And I've got it right here. I'm going to add in a little bit more yellow to make it super vivid. Okay, so we're going in here. Look at that. Brilliant. And here. Just got my Discord, Gail. Yeah, oh, join yours. Can I? Can I do that? Or is that, will that be to my detriment? Do you want me sullying your Discord with my amateurish questions? So Bravo, have you got a Discord? Or do you join other people's Discords? Is that how it works? I know my teenage boy is on Discord because he chats to his friends on Discord while he's playing. So I could get him to show me. I was meaning to have a go. There's been quite a lot. I'm still setting them up and Bravo is helping me. Ah, okay, right. You're setting up your Discord, are you? Oh, she does. Oh, that's a great shout, Paul. Yes. Hey, yeah. So Bravo, there's an artist that Paul and I follow on Instagram, and I know her in real life. She and I used to, well, anyway, she's a sculptor. And she does a lot of mythological things. She does a lot of mythological creatures. She does a lot of Icarus, like Icarus falling out of the sky. And what else does she do? I can't. But she uses a lot of that, and they're wonderful, and they've got fantastic sense of drama about them. I'm feeling like I need a little bit more yellow going on here, a little bit more yellow on top of these trees. I need to yellow that up there, and right, you Angelion is your alt account. So Brian, are you watching on 2 accounts? I was all excited then. I thought I had a new viewer. Need to buy violin music. But that's quite good. Rome has beautiful artwork. Yes. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Incredible. And to think, you know, like they were just all over the churches, weren't they? They were those artists. Caravaggio. Is Caravaggio a church artist? Right, I'm going to go for some of those vivid blue flowers. They're like a purpley blue. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of alizarin crimson, a bit of white so that we can see the colour. A little bit more white. You can't really, when you've got these really dark colours, you can't actually see their hue until you've got a bit of white in. Right, I need a little bit more liquid. Okay, join here later, Gail. Ah, okay, right. So Brian, I think I've got a Discord account, but I don't think I've set up a Discord. I want to see if the view. Yeah. My son is, one of them is 15 and the other one is 9. So the one who was on Instagram earlier picking those cherries that I was drawing, he's the 9-year-old. Right, let's get some of those. Do you think that's too dark? Too light? I think it probably is. I'm going to try and be a bit more faithful to the colours. I'm not going to put many, but they're in here and they are really eye-catching little flashes of blue. So I want to get them right if I possibly can. I think we can go a little bit lighter. Let's try. It's those lovely wild flowers. So I'm so pleased about your peanut butter, Brian. How did you sell it? Did they find you through the stream? Paul, don't worry, you and me both. How Twitch works. In order to have more viewers, you need more viewers. Yes, I know. Well, I was looking, when I was looking at that guy I sent you a link to, and he was saying you should never stream to 0 people because you can at least get your friends and family to go on. And I do that. I do go and bully my offspring, and sometimes they listen and watch. But the other thing is, it shouldn't really be about the viewers, should it? It shouldn't be about numbers. It's more about quality. And as far as I'm concerned, I've got some great quality viewers in you guys. So I don't really need like loads of viewers. Okay, now I think, what am I going to do? I think that needs to be more sky than trees. I don't want to fill that in. Oh, the gallery queue. Ah, what's a gallery queue? Is that people who are waiting for your work? Waiting to buy a Brian? That's fantastic. Okay, and I've got a nice bit of blue there. Some going in there. Nice blue flowers. All right, that's brilliant. So it's up on someone's wall. I wonder if they've got it in their kitchen. Wouldn't that be lovely? A genuine Brian in your kitchen. Okay, not as nice as the real. The reviewers turned off when I stream, so I keep the same energy no matter how many. Ah, that's really good. That's a good idea, Bravo, just to keep not focus. I'm so happy you came back, Bravo. It's really nice. I thought after I did those bears, I thought perhaps you decided that your friend Brian was quite enough art to watch. But it's very nice to have you back. Right, I'm going to go in. I'm getting a load of white on my brush ready, and I'm going to go in on between these branches. So this is what I was saying about painting the sky as a positive thing instead of painting the trees. People get their buttery paint and they paint the negative shapes of the sky, and a bit like what we were doing last week. What were we doing last week? It's painting the not painting the exact shapes in the right places, but looking for the shapes and painting them somewhere in the general region. So just kind of looking for, you know, if you see a lot of triangles between the leaves, go and paint a triangle up there somewhere, and it'll sort of make sense. What changed my... Oh, I'll tell you what changed my mind on the camel's paw. It was the prospect of this trip to the... Right, I'm just squinting to see what I'm missing. Right, I need a big greyish green area. It was the prospect of the trip to the farm where Pindrop Painter has invited people to go and paint and have a paint out. She was painting there during lockdown, and she was organising an exhibition and inviting people basically to come along, see her exhibition, but bring their paints and paint while they were there. So that's what I'm doing. So because I'm going to be streaming from there, and because I follow a few artists who do this sort of technique, I would say, I mean, I don't really want to name them because I'm not sure they would say they do this technique, if you know what I mean. But I think I'm going to use this sort of technique in the orchard. So the purists would say you should never really do this from a photo. This is absolutely something you should do from real life. So next week I'm hoping to be doing it from real life, but next week's stream will be different. So it'll be handheld from my mobile, and I'll hopefully take you around the exhibition, so I'll be able to show you Pindrop Painter's exhibition. Right, and okay, now I'm just going to pick that little bit of yellow on that tree. There's a bit, I can see a bit here. So this tree here is connected to that in the front there, I think. And let's see if we haven't got, I'm gonna go for some really light yellows up here on the edges of these trees. So here, I think there's some yellow there. Try and make sense of that tree shape. Okay, are you getting seasick? Right, and this, I'm going to make that a little bit more yellow because it looks a bit white and it needs to be like it's in the sun. Let's go, there we go. Because it is really the sun tracking through. Yeah, Paul, it would be really good will you add those really bright greens? Oh, thank you, Bravo. Do you mean here? Yes. Well, the thing is, Brian, that it's my camera, so they are really bright. But I could potentially go even brighter. I might just try and compensate for the camera. Yeah. Where is my yellow? Here we are. Right, I'm going to mix a little bit more of a yellow green to just try. There we go. Okay, right, here we go. Does that look yellower? It still looks pretty. Okay. What I am going to do though is put those oranges in. And then I think, I know. Look, maybe under here you'll be able to see, if I put this under this camera, it's a different camera, you might see a different, there, can you see the yellows? They still look a bit blue, but anyway, right. Okay, so the other thing about these paintings is they do look really naive. And that is how they are. So I'm going to go in with the oranges now. So I'm going to mix a bit of that yellow with a bit of cadmium red to get those oranges of the flashes. Thank you, Brian. Right. They are here, all over there. And I'm going to try and vary them a little bit, so I'll have some slightly more red ones. And I don't want to go mad, and I want to kind of pick out the... Really? Oh, thank you, you're really kind. And I'm going to go, Bravo, you're very encouraging. It's nice actually, because I watched a bit of your stream, I can hear your voice in my head. I know what your voice sounds like now. It's very nice to see. I did go and check out your stream. I couldn't work out the game thing, and it looked like you had lots of friends on there. So I felt like a bit of an old lady. But it was very nice to see, and I think you're also, I could probably really do with your technical help. Okay. So you can see hopefully that the rhythm of this is different. I'm almost tempted to stop, but I might just have a little look and I might just have a little chat to you. What could we do for a few minutes to kill some time? What do you think? It really nearly is time to stop actually. I can see I've been live for nearly 2 hours, but I think 10 minutes of that was... I think 10 minutes of that was, yeah, right. Okay, so we're going to have a dance to dance out. So before that, I can have a bit of a chat and just look at this painting, and I'll show you the cherries as well, and just try and work out a few Gail's Future Street. Yes, Brian is going to be my model. We're going to do it like a Zoom. It will be really good. So yeah. Brian may not thank me once. Brian, you might not thank me when I've done your portrait, but I hope you do. I hope you like it. But the main thing is we can have a bit of a chat. Oh, Paul, you're so kind. Make me dance on your stream. Oh my God, yes, I so will. Yeah, definitely. But what I will do is I'll let you choose the music, because we're both on Epidemic Sound. So. Brian, you can choose some music, but you need to make sure it's music that everyone will like. So it has to be music that Paul will dance to as well. So feel free to message Paul and Bravo and check. Really, I do take requests. Okay, so before we do, I do want to just very slightly look at this and just take a moment to, I think that sun isn't quite right and it's not quite speaking to me of the glow. And I'm thinking I need to go in with, you can see this colour here. I think I need something. I'll choose the saddest song ever. I might overrule you though, because I do have, because if you want to put dancing on your stream, that's just fine. You can choose this, but I'm going to be like, I have the last word here. Absolutely have the last word. Right. So I just want to go for something a little bit more singing in that just that corner there. I want to get a little bit of a really whitey yellow, because it just looks a little bit too muddy, and I want to have a sense of that real sun. So let's go back to the drawing board, quite literally, because that's what I call this scene. I've got my titanium white, I've got my lemon yellow, I think a little bit of orange, that's better. Just like a warm whitey beige, and I'm going to put that on just where the white, round the edge of the white there, and not all the way, I don't think. There. Okay. And do we have, I think it tracks on here as well. I think I can see it going there. And does that read? I don't know how that reads. Okay, and I'm really tempted to put a little bit on there as well, because there are some little bits. Yeah, there we go. Little light bits. It's quite vivid. I know it looks white on that yellowy, but I'll post it on Instagram later, and I'm going to put a few little white bits in here just to create an edge there. Okay, and we've got a few there. Right, I'm really cheating now. Going through here, just looking, adding blobs, filling in gaps. Before I dance. Right, get your dancing shoes on. This is your 30-second warning for dancing. What always will amaze me is how artists start with a blank canvas and then it slowly turns into something. Bravo! I know it's like a sort of alchemy, isn't it? And I don't feel that I quite qualify for this, for inclusion in your lovely comment, because I'm not sure that this is quite the business, this painting today, but I hope that it has at least been interesting. And I'm going to just try, remember I was saying about mixing a halfway colour. I'm going to try and just get a sense of those. There are some lovely kind of stripes. That's better. It's just that sense of mist here, which I really like, in contrast to the dark. Okay, right, so it's that time. Quick dance. Are you ready? Right, I've got do you want the same music, or should I find something different? I think I quite liked that music, but yeah, we've got that. That's the music we're having. Okay, right. Are you ready? We're going to have a little mini carnival. I can do this, I think. Ready? Dragon drawing would be cool. Yeah, it really would. If I'm walking away, knowing when to stop. Yes, you're right, Paul. It is. Okay, right. Bravo. I want to hear reports that you've danced somehow. I don't know how you're going to prove to me that you danced, but I want to know that you really have, because I have a little suspicion that you might be sat on not dancing. Okay, so this is how we do it. Ready, everybody? Get up and show bravo. Ready? Right. Right. Bravo, what's this all about? You danced before. Do you reckon you've danced enough? Is that you done your lot? You could be right. You could be right. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining and for watching and for your lovely comments. I'll post it on Instagram. It probably does look quite different. So I'd be interested to know what you think. It's very different to what I usually do. I'll do my best not to fiddle with it, although it's extremely tempting. And, oh, Titi! Oh, Titi, so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I've just seen you on Instagram. I hope you were up dancing. I bet you were. I bet you were. And yeah, I don't need to drink wine. I wake up in the morning, one wine up on everybody else. So it's like, that's just like it. So with that, I'm going to say ciao ciao. Please join me next week. I will try and check out your streams, Bravo and Brian's alter ego. And I'll see you next week. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye.